For nearly a decade, the AFC West has belonged to one man, Patrick Mahomes. But that era, it might be on life support. The Chargers have their head coach in Jim Harbaugh, a reloaded roster, and a quarterback who's been waiting for the right moment to flip the script. And this year, that moment is here. Welcome back to the Electric Edge, your source for Bolt takes and Bolt talk. Today, we're diving into the 5 keys the Chargers must hit if they want to finally take the AFC West crown in 2025. If you're tired of second place and Taylor Swift all over football on Sundays, this is the episode for you. If there's one absolute truth in this league, it's this. Quarterbacks can't cook if the kitchen's on fire. And last year, Justin Herbert spent way too much time running for his life. In 2024, the Chargers' offensive line gave up 42 sacks, many of them in key situations. The interior collapsed often, forcing Herbert off platform and into improvisation mode far more than necessary. On 3rd and long, blitzes weren't picked up. On obvious passing downs, the interior collapsed. The result? Stalled drives, rushed throws, and wasted scoring opportunities. It wasn't just about pressure. It was about predictability, and defenses knew they could get to him. Let's look how Herbert performs with and without protection. According to PFF and NFL Next Gen Stats, when Herbert is in a clean pocket, his QBR is 102.3, his completion percentage is 71.5, and his TD to INT ratio is 4-1. Under pressure, his QBR drops to 54.6, his completion percentage is 54.8, and his TD to INT ratio is 1.3-1. That's a massive drop-off. And it's not because Herbert can't handle pressure. He's one of the best off-platform throwers in the league. But when you're constantly under siege, even elite quarterbacks struggle to deliver MVP caliber performances. In short, a clean pocket makes Herbert deadly. A collapsing one makes him human. Enter Mekhi Becton and Andre James. Becton gives the Chargers a physically dominant presence at guard. He's massive, agile for his size, and when healthy, he can neutralize top-tier edge rushers. James, at center, brings both stability and smarts. He's a true technician who improves protection calls, anchored strength, and helps with blitz pickups. One of the Chargers' biggest issues last year. It remains to be seen, though, if he'll be part of the starting 5 this upcoming season. Combine that with the healthy return from Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, plus Zion Johnson developing into a legit interior anchor, and this line suddenly looks functional, even formidable. So here's the real impact. Better protection equals more time equals bigger plays. When Herbert has time to go through progressions, you get 25-yard strikes to Mike Williams on one-on-one coverage, seam shots to Gatson over linebackers, perfect back shoulder fades to Ladd McConkey, and that's how you win shootouts with Mahomes. That's how you stay on the field in December, and that's how you stack wins. If the Chargers want to win the AFC West, it starts in the trenches, because at the end of the day, this offense will only go as far as Herbert's jersey stays clean. On to key 2. The AFC West is no longer just about Patrick Mahomes, though he's still the measuring stick. It's also about Bo Nix entering year 2 in Denver, building confidence and rhythm in Sean Payton's system, and now Geno Smith, a savvy, experienced signal caller taking the reins in Vegas, who can pick you apart if you give him time. Bottom line, every quarterback in the division has the ability to extend plays, throw on the move, and punish defenses that can't get home. That's why if the Chargers want to win the AFC West, they have to win up front, especially on defense. In 2024, the Chargers' run defense gave up over 130 rushing yards per game and ranked in the bottom third in the NFL. They were constantly giving up 4 to 6 yard gains on first down, making it nearly impossible to create pressure situations on 2nd and 3rd down. And in a division where offenses are designed to stay ahead of schedule, 2nd and 4 is a dead sentence for any defense. It opens the playbook and neutralizes your best pass rushers. This has to change in 2025. The Chargers front office made it clear this offseason. They're done being soft up front. They've attacked both the draft and free agency with a plan to toughen up the defensive line and add depth across the board, and it shows. In the 2025 NFL Draft, they selected Kyle Kennard, who's an edge from South Carolina. He's a long, explosive pass rusher with twitch, bend, and great backside pursuit. He's expected to rotate immediately behind Mack and Tuipulotu. Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle from Oregon. He's a massive interior defender who eats space and brings legit anchor power. It's an ideal fit for early down run stuffing. In free agency, the Chargers added multiple impact defenders. They re-signed here Tart, a proven powerful interior lineman who can hold gaps and play with leverage. They signed Deshaun Hand, a versatile veteran who could rotate at multiple spots on the line. Naquan Jones, another big body for run-stopping depth. And then the secondary, Dante Jackson and Benjamin St. Just. Athletic, experienced corners to strengthen the secondary and give the pass rush time to work. For the first time in years, the Chargers have real depth, physicality, and scheme versatility in the front seven. These aren't just patchwork pickups. These are hardball guys. Gritty, gap-disciplined, and built to grind. And so far, it's showing up in camp. The tone is different, and the trench play is finally matching the offensive potential. With Joey Bosa no longer on the roster, many fans were concerned about losing that elite edge presence. But the Chargers have quietly built a young, aggressive rotation that's ready to step up. Khalil Mack returns after only a 6-sack campaign, but he's still a tone setter, a leader, and an elite edge presence. Tui Tuipulotu looks poised to keep up his development in year 3. Add in the rookie Kyle Kennard from South Carolina, who adds some juice as a rotational rusher with a high motor and the ability to win off the edge and obvious passing downs. This unit won't just survive without Bosa. It might surprise people with its depth, discipline, and disruption. The Chargers have had talented defenses before, but talent doesn't win in this division. Situational execution does. This means stuffing the run on first down, winning short yardage battles, getting stops on 3rd and 6, and finishing halves and games with discipline. Because here's the deal. If you can't get off the field on 3rd down in the AFC West, you're not playing in January. On to key 3. One of the biggest philosophical shifts in LA this year is happening on the ground. With Jim Harbaugh at the helm and Greg Roman calling the plays, the Chargers are embracing what's been missing from this offense for years, a true commitment to the run game. Let's call it what it was. The run game in 2024 was a liability. The Chargers finished 28th in rushing yards per game, averaging just 91.2 yards on the ground. They ranked 27th in yards per carry and struggled mightily in short yardage, converting only 55% of 3rd and 2 or less, a bottom 5 rate in the league. In games they won, they averaged over 105 rushing yards and held a better time of possession split. In losses, they dropped to just 78 yards on the ground, and Herbert was asked to do everything, often against too high shells and collapsing pockets. Bottom line, the lack of a reliable run game made the offense one-dimensional, predictable, and overly dependent on Herbert's heroics. The Chargers finally have a thunder and thunder pairing in the backfield. Najee Harris brings toughness, vision, and short yardage consistency. A grinder who can churn out 3 to 5 yards even when the defense knows it's coming. And their first-round draft pick, Omarion Hampton, the rookie from UNC, adds burst and one-cut explosiveness. He's tailor-made for zone and stretch concepts and gives the offense a home run threat on the ground. Together, they give the Chargers something they haven't had since prime Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler days. Balance, burst, and control. This isn't just about rushing stats. It's about how running the ball sets the tone. It keeps Mahomes on the sideline. It sets up play action where Herbert's deep ball accuracy can thrive. It shortens games, letting the Chargers finish with the lead instead of scrambling in catch-up mode. And it gives them the ability to close games, something they failed to do repeatedly in prior years. We're not talking about needling a 150-yard rusher every week. What we're talking about is consistency. Drive-sustaining runs on 2nd and 5, conversions on 3rd and 2, red zone power when it's needed most. Because when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert who can light it up through the air, the smartest thing you can do is give him structure and rhythm through the ground game. Like Harbaugh said himself, running the ball isn't just about stats. It's about taking control of the game flow. And if the Chargers can finally do that, They're not just more dangerous. They're built to win in December and January. On to key 4. If there's a single game on the calendar that matters more than any other, it's the Chargers versus the Chiefs. And for the Chargers to take the AFC West in 2025, they have to do something they haven't done enough of in the Herbert era. Beat Patrick Mahomes. Since Herbert became the starter in 2020, the Chargers are just 1-7 against the Chiefs. But that number doesn't tell the whole story, because 5 of those 7 losses were by 1 score or less. In fact, several came down to the final possession, missed field goals or defensive collapses late. So let's break it down. 2020, Week 2, Herbert's debut. Overtime loss 23-20. 2021, Week 15, a primetime heartbreaker. 24-28 overtime loss after multiple 4th down attempts and a late touchdown by Kelsey. 2022 in Week 2, lost 27-24. Herbert threw a pick 6 after miscommunication at the goal line. 2022 in Week 11, lost 30-27. Mahomes marched 75 yards in the final minute to steal the win. 2023 Week 7, lost 31-17, but the Chargers were within 1 score deep into the 4th quarter before collapsing on defense. That's 5 one-score games and 3 outright blown leads. The story's been the same. The Chargers play them tough, they match up well, they get close, and then they fold late. Whether it's Andy Reid dialing something up or Mahomes pulling magic out of nowhere, the Chargers just haven't finished. This is why Jim Harbaugh was hired. Not just to win games, but to win these games. Games where details, situational football, and mental toughness matter most. Harbaugh has to outcoach Andy Reid at least once this season. That means winning on 3rd and short, managing the clock better than Andy Reid, playing disciplined red zone defense, and not getting out-adjusted in the 4th quarter. And for once, the Chargers have the coach who won't blink in crunch time. Beating the Chiefs isn't just about standings. It's about the identity of this team. Mahomes has been the face of the division and the conference for years. When the Chargers beat him in Arrowhead or opening weekend in Brazil with the world watching, it sends a message that this is not your division anymore. That's how you create momentum. That's how you earn national respect. And that's how you build a locker room belief that this season can really be different. If the Chargers want to win the AFC West, they can't rely on tiebreakers. They can't bank on Mahomes having an off week. And they definitely can't count on other teams to help them. The division won't be won in December if you don't handle Kansas City in September. And on to our last key 5. The Chargers haven't just lost games over the last few seasons. They've given them away. Ask any fan. You don't need to look at the box score to know what went wrong. I can't tell you how many games I've screamed at or gone on X tirades because it looks like the same old Chargers. You felt it in the 4th quarter, in the clock mismanagement, in the prevent defense, in the let's just hold on mentality instead of finishing like a playoff team. In 2024, the Chargers lost 2 games where they led heading into the 4th quarter. One against Arizona on Monday night, and the other one against the Chiefs. So just imagine, if the Chargers won those 2 games, especially against the Chiefs, they'd have had a 13-4 record and had the 4 seed going into the playoffs against a Steelers team that was beatable. You never know how the playoffs would have turned out. Since 2020, Herbert's rookie year, the Chargers have lost 13 one-score games where they had a lead in the second half. That is not a personnel issue. That's a mentality and execution issue. This is where Jim Harbaugh's DNA has to flip the script and keep it flipped in 2025. The big players in the AFC do not lose these type of games. He's not here for the moral victories. He's not interested in just being competitive. He was brought to the Chargers to close these games out. Harbaugh's teams have been known to run heavy. They chew the clock out in the 4th quarter, having a defense that's disciplined and doesn't panic, executing on special teams, which is an area the Chargers have struggled with for years, and perhaps most importantly, emotional stability in tight moments. We saw this start to develop in 2024. There were games where I was thinking this is the same old Chargers, but the defense held, or the offense made the plays they needed to. Look around the league. The best teams don't win by 20 every week. They win ugly. They close 2017 games on the road. They convert that 3rd and 4th with 2 minutes left. They bleed the clock, pin you deep, and force you to go 80 yards under pressure. That's where the Chargers have failed in past years. But not this year. Harbaugh and the Chargers need to build upon last season with closing out games. Every AFC West game feels like a coin flip. And over the past few years, the Chargers keep losing those flips. This season, they need to take the coin out of the air and end the games on their terms. Whether it's a 6-minute drive to ice the clock, a 3rd-and-9 sack to force a punt, or a touchdown drive when you have the entire stadium knowing that you have to score. That's the difference between sneaking into the playoffs and hosting a home game as AFC West champs. And now, with this team, this quarterback, and this identity shift, they might just be built to finish. So, let's run it back. Here are the 5 keys the Chargers need to hit if they want to take the AFC West in 2025. Number 1, protect Herbert at all costs. Give him time, and he'll give you 30 points a game. 2, win in the trenches, especially on defense. Stop the run, collapse the pocket, get off the field. 3, establish the run game and stick with it. Harbaugh and Roman didn't come here to throw 50 times a game. They came here to control the clock and games. 4, steal one from the Chiefs. No more close calls, no more moral victories. The Chargers need to finish the job and send a message. And 5, finish like a playoff team. No more blown leads, no more fourth quarter collapses, real contenders close. And this team has to learn how to do just that. These aren't just suggestions. They're non-negotiables in my opinion. If the Chargers hit 4 out of 5 of these, they're in the playoffs. If they hit all 5, they're winning the West. So that's it for today's episode of The Electric Edge. If you like this episode, like this video, leave a review, and share it with another Chargers fan who's ready to win the West. And let me know below or on X. What do you think is the biggest key to dethroning the Chiefs this year? Tweet me, tag me, or DM me at The Electric Edge Pod, and let's talk about it. Until next time, stay charged up, and as always, bolt up.